A computer is a machine that can be programmed to carry out sequences of arithmetic or logical operations, computation, automatically. Modern digital electronic computers can perform generic sets of operations known as programs. These programs enable computers to perform a wide range of tasks. A computer system is a nominally complete computer that includes the hardware, operating system, main software, and peripheral equipment needed and used for full operation. This term may also refer to a group of computers that are linked and function together, such as a computer network or computer cluster. A broad range of industrial and consumer products use computers as control systems. Simple special-purpose devices like microwave ovens and remote controls are included, as are factory devices like industrial robots and computer-aided design, as well as general-purpose devices like personal computers and mobile devices like smartphones. Computers power the Internet, which links billions of other computers and users. Early computers were meant to be used only for calculations. Simple manual instruments like the abacus have aided people in doing calculations since ancient times. Early in the Industrial Revolution, some mechanical devices were built to automate long, tedious tasks, such as guiding patterns for looms. More sophisticated electrical machines did specialized analog calculations in the early 20th century. The first digital electronic calculating machines were developed during World War II. The first semiconductor transistors in the late 1940s were followed by the silicon-based MOSFET, MOS transistor, and monolithic integrated circuit chip technologies in the late 1950s, leading to the microprocessor and the microcomputer revolution in the 1970s. The speed, power and versatility of computers have been increasing dramatically ever since then, with transistor counts increasing at a rapid pace, as predicted by Moore's law, leading to the digital revolution during the late 20th to early 21st centuries. Conventionally, a modern computer consists of at least one processing element, typically a central processing unit, CPU, in the form of a microprocessor, together with some type of computer memory, typically semiconductor memory chips. The processing element carries out arithmetic and logical operations, and a sequencing and control unit can change the order of operations in response to stored information. Peripheral devices include input devices, keyboards, mice, joystick, etc., output devices, monitor screens, printers, etc., and input-output devices that perform both functions, for example, the 2000 SE touchscreen. Peripheral devices allow information to be retrieved from an external source and they enable the result of operations to be saved and retrieved. Etymology: a human computer. A human computer, with microscope and calculator, 1952. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the first known use of computer was in a 1613 book called The Young Man's Gleanings by the English writer Richard Brathwaite. I whole left square bracket sick right square bracket read the truest computer of times, and the best arithmetician that you are left square bracket sick right square bracket breathed, and he reduceth thy days into a short number. This usage of the term referred to a human computer, a person who carried out calculations or computations. The word continued with the same meaning until the middle of the 20th century. During the latter part of this period, women were often hired as computers because they could be paid less than their male counterparts. Left square bracket 1 right square bracket. By 1943, most human computers were women. Left square bracket 2 right square bracket. The Online Etymology Dictionary gives the first attested use of computer in the 1640s, meaning one who calculates. Quote, "This is an agent noun from compute, v. The Online Etymology Dictionary states that the use of the term to mean calculating machine, of any type, is from 1897. The Online Etymology Dictionary indicates that the modern use of the term, to mean programmable digital electronic computer, dates from 1945 under this name. Left square bracket in a right square bracket theoretical left square bracket sense right square bracket from 1937, as Turing machine. Left square bracket 3 right square bracket. History. Main articles, History of Computing and History of Computing Hardware. For a chronological guide, see Timeline of Computing. Pre-20th century. The Ishango bone, a bone tool dating back to prehistoric Africa. Devices have been used to aid computation for thousands of years, mostly using one-to-one correspondence with fingers. The earliest counting device was most likely a form of tally stick. Later record-keeping aids throughout the Fertile Crescent included calculi, clay spheres, cones, etc., which represented counts of items, likely livestock or grains, sealed in hollow unbaked clay containers. Left square bracket, a right square bracket, left square bracket, for right square bracket. The use of counting rods is one example. The Chinese wanpan. The number represented on this abacus is 6,302,715,408. The abacus was initially used for arithmetic tasks. The Roman abacus was developed from devices used in Babylonia as early as 2400 BC. Since then, many other forms of reckoning boards or tables have been invented. In a medieval European counting house, a checkered cloth would be placed on a table, and markers moved around on it according to certain rules, as an aid to calculating sums of money. Left square bracket, 5 right square bracket. The Antikythera mechanism, dating back to ancient Greece circa 150 and 100 BC, is an early analog computing device. The Antikythera mechanism is believed to be the earliest known mechanical analog computer, according to Derek J. D. Sala Price. Left square bracket, 6 right square bracket. It was designed to calculate astronomical positions. It was discovered in 1901 in the Antikythera wreck off the Greek island of Antikythera, between Kythera and Crete, and has been dated to approximately c. 100 BC. Devices of comparable complexity to the Antikythera mechanism would not reappear until the 14th century. Left square bracket, 7 right square bracket. Many mechanical aids to calculation and measurement were constructed for astronomical and navigation use. The planisphere was a star chart invented by Abu Rayhan al-Biruni in the early 11th century. Left square bracket, 8 right square bracket. The astrolabe was invented in the Hellenistic world in either the 1st or 2nd centuries BC and is often attributed to Hipparchus. A combination of the planisphere and dioptra, the astrolabe was effectively an analog computer capable of working out several different kinds of problems in spherical astronomy. An astrolabe incorporating a mechanical calendar computer. Left square bracket, 9 right square bracket, left square bracket, 10 right square bracket, and gear wheels was invented by Abi Bakr of Isfahan, Persia in 1235. Left square bracket, 11 right square bracket. Abu Rayhan al-Biruni invented the first mechanical geared lunisolar calendar astrolabe. Left square bracket, 12 right square bracket. An early fixed wired knowledge processing machine. Left square bracket, 13 right square bracket with a gear train and gear wheels. Left square bracket, 14 right square bracket. c. 1000 AD. The sector, a calculating instrument used for solving problems in proportion, trigonometry, multiplication and division, and for various functions, such as squares and cube roots, was developed in the late 16th century and found application in gunnery, surveying and navigation. The planimeter was a manual instrument to calculate the area of a closed figure by tracing over it with a mechanical linkage. A slide rule. The slide rule was invented around 1620 and 1630 by the English clergyman William Oughtred, shortly after the publication of the concept of the logarithm. It is a hand-operated analog computer for doing multiplication and division. As slide rule development progressed, added scales, provided reciprocals, squares and square roots, cubes and cube roots, as well as transcendental functions such as logarithms and exponentials, circular and hyperbolic trigonometry and other functions. Slide rules with special scales are still used for quick performance of routine calculations, such as the E6B circular slide rule used for time and distance calculations on light aircraft. In the 1770s, Pierre-Jacques Dras, a Swiss watchmaker, built a mechanical doll automaton that could write holding a quill pen. By switching the number and order of its internal wheels, different letters, and hence different messages, could be produced. In effect, it could be mechanically programmed to read instructions. Along with two other complex machines, the doll is at the Musée d'Art Histoire of Neuchâtel, Switzerland, and still operates. Left square bracket, 15 right square bracket. In 1831 and 1835, mathematician and engineer Giovanni Plana devised a perpetual calendar machine, which, through a system of pulleys and cylinders and over, could predict the perpetual calendar for every year from 0 set, that is, 1 set, to 4000 set, keeping track of leap years and varying day length. The tide predicting machine invented by the Scottish scientist Sir William Thomson in 1872 was of great utility to navigation in shallow waters. It used a system of pulleys and wires to automatically calculate predicted tide levels for a set period at a particular location. The differential analyzer, a mechanical analog computer designed to solve differential equations by integration, used wheel and disc mechanisms to perform the integration. In 1876, Sir William Thomson had already discussed the possible construction of such calculators, but he had been stymied by the limited output torque of the ball and disc integrators. Left square bracket 16 right square bracket. In a differential analyzer, the output of one integrator drove the input of the next integrator, or a graphing output. The torque amplifier was the advance that allowed these machines to work. Starting in the 1920s, Vannevar Bush and others developed mechanical differential analyzers. In the 1890s, the Spanish engineer Leonardo Torres Quevedo began to develop a series of advanced analog machines that could solve real and complex roots of polynomials. Left square bracket 17 right square bracket left square bracket 18 right square bracket left square bracket 19 right square bracket left square bracket 20 right square bracket, which were published in 1901 by the Paris Academy of Sciences. Left square bracket 21 right square bracket. First computer. Charles Babbage c. 1850. A diagram of a portion of Babbage's difference engine. The difference engine number 2 at the Intellectual Ventures Laboratory in Seattle. Charles Babbage, an English mechanical engineer and polymath, originated the concept of a programmable computer. Considered the father of the computer, left square bracket 22 right square bracket, he conceptualized and invented the first mechanical computer in the early 19th century. After working on his difference engine, he announced his invention in 1822, in a paper to the Royal Astronomical Society, titled Note on the Application of Machinery to the Computation of Astronomical and Mathematical Tables. Left square bracket 23 right square bracket. He also designed to aid in navigational calculations. In 1833 he realized that a much more general design, an analytical engine, was possible. The input of programs and data was to be provided to the machine via punched cards, a method being used at the time to direct mechanical looms such as the Jacquard loom. For output, the machine would have a printer, a curve plotter and a bell. The machine would also be able to punch numbers onto cards to be read in later. The engine incorporated an arithmetic logic unit, control flow in the form of conditional branching and loops, and integrated memory, making it the first design for a general-purpose computer that could be described in modern terms as Turing complete. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket left square bracket 25 right square bracket. The machine was about a century ahead of its time. All the parts for his machine had to be made by hand, and this was a major problem for a device with thousands of parts. Eventually, the project was dissolved with the decision of the British government to cease funding. Babbage's failure to complete the analytical engine can be chiefly attributed to political and financial difficulties, as well as his desire to develop an increasingly sophisticated computer and to move ahead faster than anyone else could follow. Nevertheless, his son, Henry Babbage, completed a simplified version of the analytical engine's computing unit, the mill, in 1888. He gave a successful demonstration of its use in computing tables in 1906. Electromechanical calculating machine. Electromechanical calculator, 1920, by Leonardo Torres Quevedo. In his work Essays on Automatics published in 1914, Leonardo Torres Quevedo wrote a brief history of Babbage's efforts at constructing a mechanical difference engine and analytical engine. He described the analytical engine as exemplifying his theories about the potential power of machines, and takes the problem of designing such an engine as a challenge to his skills as an inventor of electromechanical devices. The paper contains a design of a machine capable of calculating completely automatically the value of the formula. Question mark. To left curly bracket display style a cap left curly bracket x right curly bracket yz cap left curly bracket to right curly bracket for a sequence of sets of values of the variables involved. The whole machine was to be controlled by a read-only program, which was complete with provisions for conditional branching. He also introduced the idea of floating point arithmetic. Left square bracket 26 right square bracket left square bracket 27 right square bracket left square bracket 28 right square bracket. In 1920, to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the invention of the arithmometer, Torres presented in Paris the electromechanical arithmometer, which consisted of an arithmetic unit connected to a, possibly remote, typewriter, on which commands could be typed and the results printed. automatically, left square bracket 29 right square bracket left square bracket 30 right square bracket left square bracket 31 right square bracket demonstrating the feasibility of an electromechanical analytical engine. Left square bracket 32 right square bracket. Analog computers. Main article, analog computer. Sir William Thomson's third type predicting machine design, 1879 and 81. During the first half of the 20th century, many scientific computing needs were met by increasingly sophisticated analog computers, which used a direct mechanical or electrical model of the problem as a basis for computation. However, these were not programmable and generally lacked the versatility and accuracy of modern digital computers. Left square bracket 33 right square bracket. The first modern analog computer was a tide predicting machine, invented by Sir William Thomson, later to become Lord Kelvin, in 1872. The differential analyzer, a mechanical analog computer designed to solve differential equations by integration using wheel and disc mechanisms, was conceptualized in 1876 by James Thomson, the elder brother of the more famous Sir William Thomson. Left square bracket 16 right square bracket. The art of mechanical analog computing reached its zenith with the differential analyzer, built by H. Elmhausen and Vannevar Bush at MIT starting in 1927. This built on the mechanical integrators of James Thomson and the torque amplifiers invented by H. W. Niemann. A dozen of these devices were built before their obsolescence became obvious. By the 1950s, the success of digital electronic computers had spelled the end for most analog computing machines, but analog computers remained in use during the 1950s in some specialized applications such as education, slide rule, and aircraft control systems. Digital computers electromechanical. By 1938, the United States Navy had developed an electromechanical analog computer small enough to use aboard a submarine. This was the torpedo data computer, which used trigonometry to solve the problem of firing a torpedo at a moving target. During World War II similar devices were developed in other countries as well. Replica of Conrad's uses Z3, the first fully automatic, digital, electromechanical computer. Early digital computers were electromechanical. Electric switches drove mechanical relays to perform the calculation. These devices had a low operating speed and were eventually superseded by much faster all-electric computers, originally using vacuum tubes. The Z2, created by German engineer Konrad Zuse in 1939 in Berlin, was one of the earliest examples of an electromechanical relay computer. Left square bracket 34 right square bracket. Konrad Zuse, inventor of the modern computer. Left square bracket 35 right square bracket left square bracket 36 right square bracket. In 1941, Zuse followed his earlier machine up with the Z3, the world's first working electromechanical programmable, fully automatic digital computer. Left square bracket 37 right square bracket left square bracket 38 right square bracket. The Z3 was built with 2000 relays, implementing a 22-bit word length that operated at a clock frequency of about 5 and 10 Hz. Left square bracket 39 right square bracket. Program code was supplied on punched film, while data could be stored in 64 words of memory or supplied from the keyboard. It was quite similar to modern machines in some respects, pioneering numerous advances such as floating point numbers. Rather than the harder to implement decimal system, used in Charles Babbage's earlier design, using a binary system meant that Zuse's machines were easier to build and potentially more reliable, given the technologies available at that time. Left square bracket 40 right square bracket. The Z3 was not itself a universal computer but could be extended to be Turing complete. Left square bracket 41 right square bracket left square bracket 42 right square bracket. Zuse's next computer, the Z4, became the world's first commercial computer. After initial delay due to the Second World War, it was completed in 1950 and delivered to the ETH Zurich. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. The computer was manufactured by Zuse's own company, Zuse Kilograms. Left square bracket T right square bracket, which was founded in 1941 as the first company with the sole purpose of developing computers in Berlin. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Vacuum tubes and digital electronic circuits. Purely electronic circuit elements soon replaced their mechanical and electromechanical equivalents, at the same time that digital calculation replaced analog. The engineer Tommy Flowers, working at the Post Office Research Station in London in the 1930s, began to explore the possible use of electronics for the telephone exchange. Experimental equipment that he built in 1934 went into operation 5 years later, converting a portion of the telephone exchange network into an electronic data processing system, using thousands of vacuum tubes. Left square bracket 33 right square bracket. In the U.S., John Vincent Atanasoff and Clifford E. Berry of Iowa State University developed and tested the Atanasoff and Berry computer, ABC, in 1942, left square bracket 44 right square bracket, the first automatic electronic digital computer. Left square bracket 45 right square bracket. This design was also all electronic and used about 300 vacuum tubes, with capacitors fixed in a mechanically rotating drum for memory. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket. Two women are seen by the Colossus computer. Colossus, the first electronic digital programmable computing device, was used to break German ciphers during World War II. It is seen here in use at Bletchley Park in 1943. During World War II, the British code breakers at Bletchley Park achieved a number of successes at breaking encrypted German military communications. The German encryption machine, Enigma, was first attacked with the help of the electromechanical bombs, which were often run by women. Left square bracket 47 right square bracket left square bracket 48 right square bracket. To crack the more sophisticated German Lawrence SZ 40/42 machine, used for high-level army communications, Max Newman and his colleagues commissioned Flowers to build the Colossus. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket. He spent 11 months from early February 1943 designing and building the first Colossus. Left square bracket 49 right square bracket. After a functional test in December 1943, Colossus was shipped to Bletchley Park, where it was delivered on 18 January 1944. Left square bracket 50 right square bracket, and attacked its first message on 5 February. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket. Colossus was the world's first electronic digital programmable computer. Left square bracket 33 right square bracket. It used a large number of valves, vacuum tubes. It had paper tape input and was capable of being configured to perform a variety of Boolean logical operations on its data, but it was not Turing complete. 9 MK2 Colossi were built. The MKI was converted to a MK2, making 10 machines in total. Colossus Mark I contained 1,500 thermionic valves, tubes, but Mark II with 2,400 valves, was both 5 times faster and simpler to operate than Mark I, greatly speeding the decoding process. Left square bracket 51 right square bracket left square bracket 52 right square bracket. ENIAC was the first electronic, Turing-complete device, and performed ballistics trajectory calculations for the United States Army. The ENIAC left square bracket 53 right square bracket, electronic numerical integrator and computer, was the first electronic programmable computer built in the U.S. Although the ENIAC was similar to the Colossus, it was much faster, more flexible, and it was Turing complete. Like the Colossus, a program on the ENIAC was defined by the states of its patch cables and switches, a far cry from the stored program electronic machines that came later. Once a program was written, it had to be mechanically set into the machine with manual resetting of plugs and switches. The programmers of the ENIAC were 6 women, often known collectively as the ENIAC girls. Left square bracket 54 right square bracket left square bracket 55 right square bracket. It combined the high speed of electronics with the ability to be programmed for many complex problems. It could add or subtract 5,000 times a second, 1,000 times faster than any other machine. It also had modules to multiply, divide, and square root. High-speed memory was limited to 20 words, about 80 bytes. Built under the direction of John Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert at the University of Pennsylvania, ENIAC's development and construction lasted from 1943 to full operation at the end of 1945. The machine was huge, weighing 30 tons, using 200 kilowatts of electric power, and contained over 18,000 vacuum tubes, 1,500 relays, and hundreds of thousands of resistors, capacitors, and inductors. Left square bracket 56 right square bracket. Modern computers. Concept of modern computer. The principle of the modern computer was proposed by Alan Turing in his seminal 1936 paper, left square bracket 57 right square bracket on computable numbers. Turing proposed a simple device that he called Universal Computing Machine and that is now known as a Universal Turing Machine. He proved that such a machine is capable of computing anything that is computable by executing instructions programmed, stored on tape, allowing the machine to be programmable. The fundamental concept of Turing's design is the stored program, where all the instructions for computing are stored in memory. Von Neumann acknowledged that the central concept of the modern computer was due to this paper. Left square bracket 58 right square bracket Turing machines are to this day a central object of study in theory of computation. Except for the limitations imposed by their finite memory stores, modern computers are said to be Turing complete, which is to say, they have algorithm execution capability equivalent to a universal Turing machine. Stored programs. Main article, stored program computer. 3 tall racks containing electronic circuit boards. A section of the reconstructed Manchester Baby, the first electronic stored program computer. Early computing machines had fixed programs. Changing its function required the rewiring and restructuring of the machine. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket with the proposal of the stored program computer this changed. A stored program computer includes by design an instruction set and can store in memory a set of instructions, a program, that details the computation. The theoretical basis for the stored program computer was laid out by Alan Turing in his 1936 paper. In 1945, Turing joined the National Physical Laboratory and began work on developing an electronic stored program digital computer. His 1945 report proposed electronic calculator was the first specification for such a device. John von Neumann at the University of Pennsylvania also circulated his first draft of a report on the NPAC in 1945. Left square bracket 33 right square bracket. The Manchester Baby was the world's first stored program computer. It was built at the University of Manchester in England by Frederick C. Williams, Tom Kilburn and Jeff Tudell, and ran its first program on the 21st of June 1948. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. It was designed as a test bed for the Williams tube, the first random access digital storage device. Left square bracket 60 right square bracket. Although the computer was described as small and primitive by a 1998 retrospective, it was the first working machine to contain all of the elements essential to a modern electronic computer. Left square bracket 61 right square bracket. As soon as the Baby had demonstrated the feasibility of its design, a project began at the university to develop it into a practically useful computer, the Manchester Mark I. The Mark I in turn quickly became the prototype for the Ferranti Mark I, the world's first commercially available general-purpose computer. Left square bracket 62 right square bracket. Built by Ferranti, it was delivered to the University of Manchester in February 1951. At least 7 of these later machines were delivered between 1953 and 1957, one of them to Shell Labs in Amsterdam. Left square bracket 63 right square bracket. In October 1947 the directors of British catering company J. Leone and Company decided to take an active role in promoting the commercial development of computers. Leone's Leo computer, modeled closely on the Cambridge EDSAC of 1949, became operational in April 1951. Left square bracket 64 right square bracket and ran the world's first routine office computer job. Grace Hopper was the first to develop a compiler for a programming language. Left square bracket to right square bracket. Transistors. Main articles, transistor and history of the transistor. Further information, transistor computer and MOSFET. Bipolar junction transistor (BJT). The concept of a field effect transistor was proposed by Julius Edgar Lilienfeld in 1925. John Bardeen and Walter Bredin, while working under William Shockley at Bell Labs, built the first working transistor, the point contact transistor, in 1947, which was followed by Shockley's bipolar junction transistor in 1948. Left square bracket 65 right square bracket. Left square bracket 66 right square bracket. From 1955 onwards, transistors replaced vacuum tubes in computer designs, giving rise to the second generation of computers. Compared to vacuum tubes, transistors have many advantages. They are smaller, and require less power than vacuum tubes, so give off less heat. Junction transistors were much more reliable than vacuum tubes and had longer, indefinite, service life. Transistorized computers could contain tens of thousands of binary logic circuits in a relatively compact space. However, early junction transistors were relatively bulky devices that were difficult to manufacture on a mass production basis, which limited them to a number of specialized applications. Left square bracket 67 right square bracket. At the University of Manchester, a team under the leadership of Tom Kilburn designed and built a machine using the newly developed transistors instead of valves. Left square bracket 68 right square bracket. Their first transistorized computer, and the first in the world, was operational by 1953, and a second version was completed there in April 1955. However, the machine did make use of valves to generate its 125 kHz clock waveforms and in the circuitry to read and write on its magnetic drum memory, so it was not the first completely transistorized computer. That distinction goes to the Harwell Cadet of 1955, left square bracket 69 right square bracket, built by the Electronics Division of the Atomic Energy Research Establishment at Harwell. Left square bracket 69 right square bracket left square bracket 70 right square bracket. MOSFET, MOS transistor, showing gate, G, body, B, source, S, and drain, D, terminals. The gate is separated from the body by an insulating layer, pink. The metal end-edge oxide end-edge silicon field effect transistor, MOSFET, also known as the MOS transistor, was invented by Mohammad Ematella and Dawn Catton at Bell Labs in 1959. Left square bracket 71 right square bracket. It was the first truly compact transistor that could be miniaturized and mass-produced for a wide range of uses. Left square bracket 67 right square bracket. With its high scalability, left square bracket 72 right square bracket, and much lower power consumption and higher density than bipolar junction transistors, left square bracket 73 right square bracket. The MOSFET made it possible to build high-density integrated circuits. Left square bracket 74 right square bracket left square bracket 75 right square bracket. In addition to data processing, it also enabled the practical use of MOS transistors as memory cell storage elements, leading to the development of MOS semiconductor memory, which replaced earlier magnetic core memory in computers. The MOSFET led to the microcomputer revolution, left square bracket 76 right square bracket, and became the driving force behind the computer revolution. Left square bracket 77 right square bracket left square bracket 78 right square bracket. The MOSFET is the most widely used transistor in computers, left square bracket 79 right square bracket left square bracket 80 right square bracket, and is the fundamental building block of digital electronics. Left square bracket 81 right square bracket. Integrated circuits. Main articles: Integrated circuit and invention of the integrated circuit. Further information: Planar process and microprocessor. MOS 6502 computer chip. Photograph of a MOS 6502, an early 1970s microprocessor integrating 3500 transistors on a single chip. MOS 6502 computer chip. In-depth package. Integrated circuits are typically packaged in plastic, metal, or ceramic cases to protect the IC from damage and for ease of assembly. The next great advance in computing power came with the advent of the integrated circuit, IC. The idea of the integrated circuit was first conceived by a radar scientist working for the Royal Radar Establishment of the Ministry of Defense, Geoffrey W. A. Dummer. Dummer presented the first public description of an integrated circuit at the Symposium on Progress in Quality Electronic Components in Washington, D.C., on the 7th of May 1952. Left square bracket 82 right square bracket. The first working ICs were invented by Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments and Robert Noyce at Fairchild Semiconductor. Left square bracket 83 right square bracket. Kilby recorded his initial ideas concerning the integrated circuit in July 1958, successfully demonstrating the first working integrated example on the 12th of September 1958. Left square bracket 84 right square bracket. In his patent application of 6 February 1959, Kilby described his new device as a body of semiconductor material, wherein all The components of the electronic circuit are completely integrated. Left square bracket 85 right square bracket left square bracket 86 right square bracket. However, Kilby's invention was a hybrid integrated circuit, hybrid IC, rather than a monolithic integrated circuit, IC. Chip. Left square bracket 87 right square bracket. Kilby's IC had external wire connections, which made it difficult to mass produce. Left square bracket 88 right square bracket. Noyce also came up with his own idea of an integrated circuit half a year later than Kilby. Left square bracket 89 right square bracket. Noyce's invention was the first true monolithic IC chip. Left square bracket 90 right square bracket left square bracket 88 right square bracket. His chip solved many practical problems that Kilby's had not. Produced at Fairchild Semiconductor, it was made of silicon, whereas Kilby's chip was made of germanium. Noyce's monolithic IC was fabricated using the planar process, developed by his colleague Jean Horney in early 1959. In turn, the planar process was based on Mohammed Emetella's work on semiconductor surface passivation by silicon dioxide in the late 1950s. Left square bracket 91 right square bracket left square bracket 92 right square bracket left square bracket 93 right square bracket. Modern monolithic ICs are predominantly MOS, metal and oxide and semiconductor, integrated circuits, built from MOSFETs, MOS transistors. Left square bracket 94 right square bracket. The earliest experimental MOS IC to be fabricated was a 16 transistor chip built by Fred Heyman and Stephen Hofstein at RCA in 1962. Left square bracket 95 right square bracket. General Microelectronics later introduced the first commercial MOS IC in 1964. Left square bracket 96 right square bracket. Developed by Robert Norman. Left square bracket 95 right square bracket. Following the development of the self-aligned gate, silicon gate, MOS transistor by Robert Kerwin, Donald Klein and John Ceres at Bell Labs in 1967, the first silicon gate MOS IC with self-aligned gates was developed by Federico Faggin at Fairchild Semiconductor in 1968. Left square bracket 97 right square bracket. The MOSFET has since become the most critical device component in modern ICs. Left square bracket 94 right square bracket. The development of the MOS integrated circuit led to the invention of the microprocessor. Left square bracket 98 right square bracket left square bracket 99 right square bracket, and heralded an explosion in the commercial and personal use of computers. While the subject of exactly which device was the first microprocessor is contentious, partly due to lack of agreement on the exact definition of the term microprocessor, it is largely undisputed that the first single-chip microprocessor was the Intel 4004, left square bracket 100 right square bracket, designed and realized by Federico Faggin with his silicon gate MOS IC technology, left square bracket 98 right square bracket, along with Ted Hoff, Masatoshi Shima and Stanley Mazer at Intel. Left square bracket B right square bracket left square bracket 102 right square bracket. In the early 1970s, MOS IC technology enabled the integration of more than 10,000 transistors on a single chip. Left square bracket 75 right square bracket. System on a chip, SoCs, are complete computers on a microchip, or chip, the size of a coin. Left square bracket 103 right square bracket. They may or may not have integrated RAM and flash memory. If not integrated, the RAM is usually placed directly above, known as package on package, or below, on the opposite side of the circuit board, the SoC, and the flash memory is usually placed right next to the SoC. This all done to improve data transfer speeds, as the data signals do not have to travel long distances. Since ENIAC in 1945, computers have advanced enormously, with modern SoCs, such as the Snapdragon 865, being the size of a coin, while also being hundreds of thousands of times more powerful than ENIAC, integrating billions of transistors, and consuming only a few watts of power. Mobile computers. The first mobile computers were heavy and ran from mains power. The 50-pound, 23 kilograms, IBM 5100 was an early example. Later portables such as the Osborne 1 and Compact Portable were considerably lighter but still needed to be plugged in. The first laptops, such as the Grid Compass, removed this requirement by incorporating batteries and with the continued miniaturization of computing resources and advancements in portable battery life, portable computers grew in popularity in the 2000s. Left square bracket 104 right square bracket. The same developments allowed manufacturers to integrate computing resources into cellular mobile phones by the early 2000s. These smartphones and tablets run on a variety of operating systems and recently became the dominant computing device on the market. Left square bracket 105 right square bracket. These are powered by system on a chip, SoCs, which are complete computers on a microchip the size of a coin. Left square bracket 103 right square bracket. Type C also. Classes of computers. Computers can be classified in a number of different ways, including by architecture: analog computer, digital computer, hybrid computer, Harvard architecture, von Neumann architecture, complex instruction set computer, reduced instruction set computer, by size, form factor and purpose: supercomputer, mainframe computer, mini computer, term no longer used. Left square bracket 106 right square bracket. Mid-range computer, server, rack mount server, blade server, tower server, personal computer, workstation, microcomputer, term no longer used. Left square bracket 107 right square bracket. Home computer, term fallen into disuse. Left square bracket 108 right square bracket. Desktop computer, tower desktop, slimline desktop, multimedia computer, nonlinear editing system computers, video editing PCs and the like. This term is no longer used. Left square bracket 109 right square bracket. Gaming computer, all-in-one PC, NEP, small form factor PCs, mini PCs, home theater PC, keyboard computer, portable computer, thin client internet appliance, laptop, desktop replacement computer, gaming laptop, rugged laptop, 2-in-1. PC, Ultrabook, Chromebook, Subnautica, Netbook, mobile computers, tablet computer, smartphone, ultramobile PC, pocket PC, palm top PC, handheld PC, wearable computer, smartwatch, smart glasses, single board computer, plug computer, stick PC, programmable logic controller computer, on module system, in a package system on chip, also known as an application processor or AP, if it lacks circuitry such as radio circuitry, microcontroller hardware. Main articles: computer hardware, personal computer hardware, central processing unit, and microprocessor. Video demonstrating the standard components of a slimline computer. The term hardware covers all of those parts of a computer that are tangible physical objects: circuits, computer chips, graphic cards, sound cards, memory, RAM, motherboard, displays, power supplies, cables, keyboards, printers and mice. Input devices are all hardware. History of computing hardware. Main article: history of computing hardware. First generation, mechanical/electromechanical, calculators, Pascal's calculator, arithmometer, difference engine, Quevedo's analytical machines, programmable devices, Jack Ward Loom, analytical engine, IBM ASC/Harvard Mark I, Harvard Mark II, IBM SEC, Z1, Z2, Z3. Second generation, vacuum tubes, calculators, Atanasoff and Ashbury computer, IBM 604, Univac 60, Univac 120. Programmable devices: Colossus, ENIAC, Manchester Baby, EDSAC, Manchester Mark I, Ferranti Pegasus, Ferranti Mercury, Xerox, EDVAC, Univac I, IBM 701, IBM 702, IBM 650, Z20 to third generation, discrete transistors and LC integrated circuits, mainframes, IBM 7090, IBM 7080, IBM SYSTEM 360, Bunch mini computer, HP 2116A, IBM SYSTEM 32, IBM SYSTEM 36. Link PTP8 PTP11 desktop computer, HP 9100 4th generation, VLC integrated circuits, mini computer VAX, IBM AS 404-bit microcomputer, Intel 4004, Intel 4048-bit microcomputer, Intel 8008, Intel 8080, Motorola 6800, Motorola 6809, MOS technology. 6502, Zilog Z80 16-bit microcomputer, Intel 8088, Zilog Z8000 WTC 65816/65800 to 32-bit microcomputer, Intel 80386, Pentium, Motorola 68000, ARM 64-bit microcomputer. Left square bracket C right square bracket Alpha, MIPS, Theorisk, PowerPC, Spark, x86-264. ARM-8A embedded computer Intel 8048, Intel 8051 personal computer desktop computer, home computer, laptop computer, personal digital assistant, DAP, portable computer, tablet PC, wearable computer theoretical/experimental quantum computer IBM Q System 1 chemical computer DNA computing optical computer spintronics based computer wellwork/organic computer other hardware topics peripheral device, input mouse, keyboard, joystick, image scanner, webcam, graphics tablet, microphone output monitor, printer, loudspeaker both floppy disk drive, hard disk drive, optical disk drive, teleprinter computer buses short range RS-232, SCSI, C, USB long range, computer networking, Ethernet, ADM, FDIA general purpose computer has four main components, the arithmetic logic unit, ALU, the control unit, the memory, and the input and output devices, collectively termed I/O. These parts are interconnected by buses, often made of groups of wires. Inside each of these parts are thousands to trillions of small electrical circuits which can be turned off or on by means of an electronic switch. Each circuit represents a bit, binary digit, of information, so that, when the circuit is on it represents a 1, and when off it represents a 0, in positive logic representation. The circuits are arranged in logic gates, so that one or more of the circuits may control the state of one or more of the other circuits. Input devices. When unprocessed data is sent to the computer with the help of input devices, the data is processed and sent to output devices. The input devices may be hand-operated or automated. The act of processing is mainly regulated by the CPU. Some examples of input devices are computer keyboard, digital camera, digital video, graphics tablet, image scanner, joystick, microphone, mouse, overlay keyboard, real-time clock, trackball, touch screen, light, pen. Output devices. The means through which computer gives output are known as output devices. Some examples of output devices are computer monitor, printer, PC, speaker, projector, sound card, video card, control unit. Main articles, CPU design and control unit. Diagram showing how a particular MIPS architecture instruction would be decoded by the control system. The control unit, often called a control system or central controller, manages the computer's various components. It reads and interprets, decodes, the program instructions, transforming them into control signals that activate other parts of the computer. Left square bracket D right square bracket. Control systems in advanced computers may change the order of execution of some instructions to improve performance. A key component common to all CPUs is the program counter, a special memory cell, a register that keeps track of which location in memory the next instruction is to be read from. Left square bracket E right square bracket. The control system's function is as follows. This is a simplified description, and some of these steps may be performed concurrently or in a different order depending on the type of CPU. Read the code for the next instruction from the cell indicated by the program counter. Decode the numerical code for the instruction into a set of commands or signals for each of the other systems. Increment the program counter so it points to the next instruction. Read whatever data the instruction requires from cells in memory, or perhaps from an input device. The location of this required data is typically stored within the instruction code. Provide the necessary data to an ALU or register. If the instruction requires an ALU or specialized hardware to complete, instruct the hardware to perform the requested operation. Write the result from the ALU back to a memory location or to a register or perhaps an output device. Jump back to step 1. Since the program counter is, conceptually, just another set of memory cells, it can be changed by calculations done in the ALU. Adding 100 to the program counter would cause the next instruction to be read from a place 100 locations further down the program. Instructions that modify the program counter are often known as jumps and allow for loops, instructions that are repeated by the computer, and often conditional instruction execution, both examples of control flow. The sequence of operations that the control unit goes through to process an instruction is in itself like a short computer program, and indeed, in some more complex CPU designs, there is another yet smaller computer called a microsequencer, which runs a microcode program that causes all of these events to happen. Central Processing Unit, CPU, main articles, Central Processing Unit and Microprocessor. The control unit, ALU, and registers are collectively known as a Central Processing Unit, CPU. Early CPUs were composed of many separate components. Since the 1970s, CPUs have typically been constructed on a single MOS integrated circuit chip called a microprocessor. Arithmetic Logic Unit, ALU, main article. Arithmetic Logic Unit. The ALU is capable of performing two classes of operations, arithmetic and logic. Left square bracket 110 right square bracket. The set of arithmetic operations that a particular ALU supports may be limited to addition and subtraction, or might include multiplication, division, trigonometry functions such as sine, cosine, etc., and square roots. Some can operate only on whole numbers, integers, while others use floating point to represent real numbers, albeit with limited precision. However, any computer that is capable of performing just the simplest operations can be programmed to break down the more complex operations into simple steps that it can perform. Therefore, any computer can be programmed to perform any arithmetic operation although it will take more time to do so, if its ALU does not directly support the operation. An ALU may also compare numbers and return Boolean truth values, true or false, depending on whether one is equal to, greater than or less than the other. Is 64 greater than 65? Logic operations involve Boolean logic, and, or, XOR, and not. These can be useful for creating complicated conditional statements and processing Boolean logic. Superscalar computers may contain multiple ALUs, allowing them to process several instructions simultaneously. Left square bracket 111 right square bracket. Graphics processors and computers with SIMD and MIMD features often contain ALUs that can perform arithmetic on vectors and matrices. Memory main articles, computer memory and computer data storage. Magnetic core memory, using magnetic cores, was the computer memory of choice in the 1960s, until it was replaced by semiconductor memory, using MOS memory cells. A computer's memory can be viewed as a list of cells into which numbers can be placed or read. Each cell has a numbered address and can store a single number. The computer can be instructed to put the number 123 into the cell numbered 1357 or to add the number that is in cell 1357 to the number that is in cell 2468 and put the answer into cell 1595. The information stored in memory may represent practically anything. Letters, numbers, even computer instructions can be placed into memory with equal ease. Since the CPU does not differentiate between different types of information, it is the software's responsibility to give significance to what the memory sees as nothing but a series of numbers. In almost all modern computers, each memory cell is set up to store binary numbers in groups of 8 bits, called a byte. Each byte is able to represent 256 different numbers. 28 equals 256, either from 0 to 255 or minus 128 to plus 127. To store larger numbers, several consecutive bytes may be used, typically 2, 4 or 8. When negative numbers are required, they are usually stored in 2's complement notation. Other arrangements are possible, but are usually not seen outside of specialized applications or historical contexts. A computer can't store any kind of information in memory if it can be represented numerically. Modern computers have billions or even trillions of bytes of memory. The CPU contains a special set of memory cells called registers that can be read and written to much more rapidly than the main memory area. There are typically between 2 and 100 registers depending on the type of CPU. Registers are used for the most frequently needed data items to avoid having to access main memory every time data is needed. As data is constantly being worked on, reducing the need to access main memory, which is often slow compared to the ALU and control units, greatly increases the computer's speed. Computer main memory comes in two principal varieties. Random access memory or RAM. Read-only memory or RAM can be read and written to any time the CPU commands it, but RAM is preloaded with data and software that never changes, therefore the CPU can only read from it. RAM is typically used to store the computer's initial startup instructions. In general, the contents of RAM are erased when the power to the computer is turned off, but RAM retains its data indefinitely. In a PC, the RAM contains a specialized program called the BIOS that orchestrates loading the computer's operating system from the hard disk drive into a RAM, whenever the computer is turned on or reset. In embedded computers, which frequently do not have disk drives, all of the required software may be stored in RAM. Software stored in RAM is often called firmware, because it is notionally more like hardware than software. Flash memory blurs the distinction between RAM and RAM, as it retains its data when turned off but is also rewritable. It is typically much slower than conventional RAM and RAM however, so its use is restricted to applications where high speed is a necessary. Left square bracket F right square bracket. In more sophisticated computers there may be one or more RAM cache memories, which are slower than registers but faster than main memory. Generally computers with this sort of cache are designed to move frequently needed data into the cache automatically, often without the need for any intervention on the programmer's part. Input-output, I/O, main article, input-output. Hard disk drives are common storage devices used with computers. I/O is the means by which a computer exchanges information with the outside world. Left square bracket 113 right square bracket devices that provide input or output to the computer are called peripherals. Left square bracket 114 right square bracket. On a typical personal computer, peripherals include input devices like the keyboard and mouse, and output devices such as the display and printer. Hard disk drives, floppy disk drives and optical disk drives serve as both input and output devices. Computer networking is another form of I/O. I/O devices are often complex computers in their own right, with their own CPU and memory. A graphics processing unit might contain 50 or more tiny computers that perform the calculations necessary to display 3D graphics. Left square bracket citation needed right square bracket. Modern desktop computers contain many smaller computers that assist the main CPU in performing I/O. A 2016 era flat screen display contains its own computer circuitry. Multitasking main article, computer multitasking. While a computer may be viewed as running one gigantic program stored in its main memory, in some systems it is necessary to give the appearance of running several programs simultaneously. This is achieved by multitasking, that is having the computer switch rapidly between running each program in turn. Left square bracket 115 right square bracket. One means by which this is done is with a special signal called an interrupt, which can periodically cause the computer to stop executing instructions where it was and do something else instead. By remembering where it was executing prior to the interrupt, the computer can return to that task later. If several programs are running at the same time, then the interrupt generator might be causing several hundred interrupts per second, causing a program switch each time. Since modern computers typically execute instructions several orders of magnitude faster than human perception, it may appear that many programs are running at the same time, even though only one is ever executing in any given instant. This method of multitasking is sometimes termed time sharing, since each program is allocated a slice of time in turn. Left square bracket 116 right square bracket. Before the era of inexpensive computers, the principal use for multitasking was to allow many people to share the same computer. Seemingly, multitasking would cause a computer that is switching between several programs to run more slowly, in direct proportion to the number of programs it is running, but most programs spend much of their time waiting for slow input-output devices to complete their tasks. If a program is waiting for the user to click on the mouse or press a key on the keyboard, then it will not take a time slice until the event it is waiting for has occurred. This frees up time for other programs to execute so that many programs may be run simultaneously without an acceptable speed loss. Multiprocessing main article, multiprocessing. Cray designed many supercomputers that used multiprocessing heavily. Some computers are designed to distribute their work across several CPUs in a multiprocessing configuration, a technique once employed in only large and powerful machines such as supercomputers, mainframe computers and servers. Multiprocessor and multi-core, multiple CPUs on a single integrated circuit, personal and laptop computers are now widely available, and are being increasingly used in lower-end markets as a result. Supercomputers in particular often have highly unique architectures that differ significantly from the basic stored program architecture and from general-purpose computers. Left square bracket G right square bracket. They often feature thousands of CPUs, customized high-speed interconnects, and specialized computing hardware. Such designs tend to be useful for only specialized tasks due to the large scale of program organization required to use most of the available resources at once. Supercomputers usually see usage in large-scale simulation, graphics rendering, and cryptography applications, as well as with other so-called embarrassingly parallel tasks. Software. Main article. Software refers to parts of the computer which do not have a material form, such as programs, data, protocols, etc. Software is that part of a computer system that consists of encoded information or computer instructions, in contrast to the physical hardware from which the system is built. Computer software includes computer programs, libraries and related non-executable data, such as online documentation or digital media. It is often divided into system software and application software. Computer hardware and software require each other and neither can be realistically used on its own. When software is stored in hardware that cannot easily be modified, such as with BIOS ROM in an IBM PC-compatible computer, it is sometimes called firmware. Operating system/system software. Unix and BSD. Unix system V, IBM X, HP UX, Solaris, Sun operating system, IRIX. List of BSD operating systems. Linux. List of Linux distributions. Comparison of Linux distributions. Microsoft Windows, Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows NT, Windows 2000, Windows ME, Windows XP, Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 11 DOS, 86 DOS, DOS, IBM PC DOS, MS-DOS, Dr. DOS, FreeDOS. Macintosh operating systems. Classic Mac operating system, Mac operating system, previously operating system X and Mac operating system X. Embedded and real-time. List of embedded operating systems. Experimental Amoeba, Oberon and Adcheus, Bluebottle, A2, Plan 9 from Bell Labs Library. Multimedia DirectX, OpenGL, OpenAL, Vulkan, API, Programming Library. C. Standard Library, Standard Template Library. Data Protocol. TCP/IP, Kermit, FTP, HTTP, SNTP. File Format. HTML, XML, JPEG, MPEG, PNG. User Interface. Graphical User Interface, WIMP, Microsoft Windows, GNOME, QNX, Photon, GEM, Aqua. Text-based user interface. Command line interface, text user interface. Application software. Office suite. Word processing, desktop publishing, presentation program, database management system, scheduling and time management, spreadsheet, accounting software. Internet access browser, email client, web server, mail transfer agent, instant messaging. Design and manufacturing. Computer-aided design, computer-aided manufacturing, plant management, robotic manufacturing, supply chain management. Graphics. Raster graphics editor, vector graphics editor, 3D modeler, animation editor, 3D computer graphics, video editing, image processing. Audio digital audio editor, audio playback, mixing, audio synthesis, computer music software. Engineering. Compiler, assembler, interpreter, debugger, text editor, integrated development environment, software. Performance analysis, revision control, software. Configuration management. Educational edutainment, educational game, serious game, flight simulator. Games. Strategy, arcade, puzzle, simulation, first person shooter, platform, massively multiplayer, interactive fiction. MISC. Artificial intelligence, antivirus software, malware scanner, installer/package management systems, file manager. Languages. There are thousands of different programming languages, some intended for general purpose, others useful for only highly specialized applications. Programming languages. Lists of programming languages. Timeline of programming languages. List of programming languages by category. Generational list of programming languages. List of programming languages. Non-English based programming languages commonly used. Assembly languages. ARM, MIPS, x86. Commonly used high-level programming languages. Ada, Basic, C, C++, C number, COBOL, Fortran, PLN/I, Rex, Java, Lisp, Pascal, Object. Pascal. Commonly used scripting languages. Born script, JavaScript, Python, Ruby, PHP. Perl programs. The defining feature of modern computers which distinguishes them from all other machines is that they can be programmed. That is to say that some type of instructions, the program can be given to the computer, and it will process them. Modern computers based on the von Neumann architecture often have machine code in the form of an imperative programming language. In practical terms, a computer program may be just a few instructions or extend to many millions of instructions, as do the programs for word processors and web browsers for example. A typical modern computer can execute billions of instructions per second, gigaflops, and rarely makes a mistake over many years of operation. Large computer programs consisting of several million instructions may take teams of programmers years to write, and due to the complexity of the task almost certainly contain errors. Stored program architecture. Main articles, computer program and computer programming. Replica of the Manchester Baby, the world's first electronic stored program computer, at the Museum of Science and Industry in Manchester, England. This section applies to most common RAM machine and edge-based computers. In most cases, computer instructions are simple: add one number to another, move some data from one location to another, send a message to some external device, etc. These instructions are read from the computer's memory and are generally carried out, executed, in the order they were given. However, there are usually specialized instructions to tell the computer to jump ahead or backwards to some other place in the program and to carry on executing from there. These are called jump instructions, or branches. Furthermore, jump instructions may be made to happen conditionally so that different sequences of instructions may be used depending on the result of some previous calculation or some external event. Many computers directly support subroutines by providing a type of jump that remembers the location it jumped from and another instruction to return to the instruction following that jump instruction. Program execution might be likened to reading a book. While a person will normally read each word and line in sequence, they may at times jump back to an earlier place in the text or skip sections that are not of interest. Similarly, a computer may sometimes go back and repeat the instructions in some section of the program over and over again until some internal condition is met. This is called the flow of control within the program, and it is what allows the computer to perform tasks repeatedly without human intervention. Comparatively, a person using a pocket calculator can perform a basic arithmetic operation such as adding two numbers with just a few button presses. But to add together all of the numbers from 1 to 1000 would take thousands of button presses and a lot of time, with a near certainty of making a mistake. On the other hand, a computer may be programmed to do this with just a few simple instructions. The following example is written in the MIPS assembly language. Begin, a D $8, $0, 0 number initialize sum to 0, a D $9, $0, 1 number set first number to add equals 1 loop, so T $10, $9, 1000 number check, if the number is less than 1000 back $10, $0, finish, number, if odd number is greater than n then exit add $8, $8, $9 number update sum a D $9. $9, 1 number get next number J loop number repeat the summing process finish, add $2, $8, $0 number put sum in output register. Once told to run this program, the computer will perform the repetitive addition task without further human intervention. It will almost never make a mistake, and a modern PC can complete the task in a fraction of a second. Machine code. In most computers, individual instructions are stored as machine code, with each instruction being given a unique number, its operation code or opcode for short. The command to add two numbers together would have one opcode, the command to multiply them would have a different opcode, and so on. The simplest computers are able to perform any of a handful of different instructions. The more complex computers have several hundred to choose from, each with a unique numerical code. Since the computer's memory is able to store numbers, it can also store the instruction codes. This leads to the important fact that entire programs, which are just lists of these instructions, can be represented as lists of numbers and can themselves be manipulated inside the computer in the same way as numeric data. The fundamental concept of storing programs in the computer's memory alongside the data they operate on is the crux of the von Neumann, or stored program, architecture. Left square bracket 118 right square bracket left square bracket 119 right square bracket. In some cases, a computer might store some or all of its program in memory that is kept separate from the data it operates on. This is called the Harvard architecture, after the Harvard Mark-I computer. Modern von Neumann computers display some traits of the Harvard architecture in their designs, such as in CPU caches. While it is possible to write computer programs as long lists of numbers, machine language, and while this technique was used with many early computers, left square bracket H right square bracket, it is extremely tedious and potentially error prone to do so in practice, especially for complicated programs. Instead, each basic instruction can be given a short name that is indicative of its function and easy to remember and add mnemonics such as add, sub, mult or jump. These mnemonics are collectively known as a computer's assembly language. Converting programs written in assembly language into something the computer can actually understand, machine language, is usually done by a computer program called an assembler. A 1970s punched card containing one line from a Fortran program. The card reads, Z1 equals Y plus W1 and is labeled Proj 039 for identification purposes. Programming language main article. Programming languages provide various ways of specifying programs for computers to run. And like natural languages, programming languages are designed to permit no ambiguity and to be concise. They are purely written languages and are often difficult to read aloud. They are generally either translated into machine code by a compiler or an assembler before being run, or translated directly at runtime by an interpreter. Sometimes programs are executed by a hybrid method of the two techniques. Low-level languages main article. Low-level programming language machine languages and the assembly languages that represent them, collectively termed low-level programming languages, are generally unique to the particular architecture of a computer's central processing unit, CPU. For instance, an ARM architecture CPU, such as may be found in a smartphone or a handheld video game, cannot understand the machine language of an x86 CPU that might be in a PC. Left square bracket I right square bracket. Historically, a significant number of other CPU architectures were created and saw extensive use, notably including the MOS technology 6502 and 6510 in addition to the Zilog Z80. High-level languages main article. High-level programming language, although considerably easier than in machine language, writing long programs in assembly language is often difficult and is also error-prone. Therefore, most practical programs are written in more abstract high-level programming languages that are able to express the needs of the programmer more conveniently and thereby help reduce programmer error. High-level languages are usually compiled into machine language, or sometimes into assembly language and then into machine language, using another computer program called a compiler. Left square bracket J right square bracket. High-level languages are less related to the workings of the target computer than assembly language, and more related to the language and structure of the problem or problems to be solved by the final program. It is therefore often possible to use different compilers to translate the same high-level language program into the machine language of many different types of computer. This is part of the means by which software like video games may be made available for different computer architectures such as personal computers and various video game consoles. Program design of small programs is relatively simple and involves the analysis of the problem, collection of inputs, using the programming constructs within languages, devising or using established procedures and algorithms, providing data for output devices and solutions to the problem, as applicable. Left square bracket 120, right square bracket. As problems become larger and more complex, features such as subprograms, modules, formal documentation, and new paradigms such as object-oriented programming are encountered. Left square bracket 121, right square bracket. Large programs involving thousands of lines of code and more require formal software methodologies. Left square bracket 122, right square bracket. The task of developing large software systems presents a significant intellectual challenge. Left square bracket 123, right square bracket. Producing software with an acceptably high reliability within a predictable schedule and budget has historically been difficult. Left square bracket 124, right square bracket. The academic and professional discipline of software engineering concentrates specifically on this challenge. Left square bracket 125, right square bracket. Bugs main article. Software bug. The actual first computer bug, a moth found trapped on a relay of the Harvard Mark II computer errors in computer programs, are called bugs. They may be benign and not affect the usefulness of the program, or have only subtle effects. However, in some cases they may cause the program or the entire system to hang, becoming unresponsive to input such as mouse clicks or keystrokes, to completely fail, or to crash. Left square bracket 126 right square bracket. Otherwise benign bugs may sometimes be harnessed for malicious intent by an unscrupulous user writing an exploit, code designed to take advantage of a bug and disrupt a computer's proper execution. Bugs are usually not the fault of the computer. Since computers merely execute the instructions they are given, bugs are nearly always the result of programmer error or an oversight made in the program's design. Left square bracket K right square bracket. Admiral Grace Hopper, an American computer scientist and developer of the first compiler, is credited for having first used the term bugs in computing, after a dead moth was found shorting a relay in the Harvard Mark II computer in September 1947. Left square bracket 127 right square bracket. Networking and the Internet. Main articles: Computer networking and Internet. Visualization of a portion of the routes on the Internet. Computers have been used to coordinate information between multiple locations since the 1950s. The U.S. military SAGE system was the first large-scale example of such a system, which led to a number of special-purpose commercial systems such as Sabre. Left square bracket 128 right square bracket. In the 1970s, computer engineers at research institutions throughout the United States began to link their computers together using telecommunications technology. The effort was funded by ARPA, now DARPA, and the computer network that resulted was called the ARPANET. Left square bracket 129 right square bracket. The technologies that made the ARPANET possible spread and evolved. In time, the network spread beyond academic and military institutions and became known as the Internet. The emergence of networking involved a redefinition of the nature and boundaries of the computer. Computer operating systems and applications were modified to include the ability to define and access the resources of other computers on the network, such as peripheral devices, stored information, and the like, as extensions of the resources of an individual computer. Initially these facilities were available primarily to people working in high-tech environments, but in the 1990s the spread of applications like email and the World Wide Web, combined with the development of cheap, fast networking technologies like Ethernet and ADSL, saw computer networking become almost ubiquitous. In fact, the number of computers that are networked is growing phenomenally. A very large proportion of personal computers regularly connect to the Internet to communicate and receive information. Wireless networking, often utilizing mobile phone networks, has meant networking is becoming increasingly ubiquitous even in mobile computing environments. Unconventional computers. Main article: Human computer. See also Harvard computers. A computer does not need to be electronic, nor even have a processor, nor RAM, nor even a hard disk. While popular usage of the word computer is synonymous with a personal electronic computer, left square bracket L right square bracket, a typical modern definition of a computer is a device that computes, especially a programmable left square bracket usually right square bracket electronic machine that performs high-speed mathematical or logical operations or that assembles, stores, correlates, or otherwise processes information. Left square bracket 130 right square bracket. According to this definition, any device that processes information qualifies as a computer. Future: there is active research to make non-classical computers out of many promising new types of technology, such as optical computers, DNA computers, neural computers, and quantum computers. Most computers are universal, and are able to calculate any computable function, and are limited only by their memory capacity and operating speed. However, different designs of computers can give very different performance for particular problems. For example, quantum computers can potentially break some modern encryption algorithms, by quantum factoring, very quickly. Computer architecture paradigms: there are many types of computer architectures. Quantum computer versus chemical computer, scalar processor versus vector processor, non-uniform memory access, NUMA, computers register machine versus stack machine, Harvard architecture versus von Neumann architecture, cellular architecture. Of all these abstract machines, a quantum computer holds the most promise for revolutionizing computing. Left square bracket 131 right square bracket. Logic gates are a common abstraction which can apply to most of the above digital or analog paradigms. The ability to store and execute lists of instructions called programs makes computers extremely versatile, distinguishing them from calculators. The Church and Turing thesis is a mathematical statement of this versatility. Any computer with a minimum capability, being Turing complete, is, in principle, capable of performing the same tasks that any other computer can perform. Therefore, any type of computer, netbook, supercomputer, cellular automaton, etc., is able to perform the same computational tasks, given enough time and storage capacity. Artificial intelligence: a computer will solve problems in exactly the way it is programmed to, without regard to efficiency, alternative solutions, possible shortcuts, or possible errors in the code. Computer programs that learn and adapt are part of the emerging field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Artificial intelligence-based products generally fall into two major categories: rule-based systems and pattern recognition systems. Rule-based systems attempt to represent the rules used by human experts and tend to be expensive to develop. Pattern-based systems use data about a problem to generate conclusions. Examples of pattern-based systems include voice recognition, font recognition, translation, and the emerging field of online marketing. Professions and organizations: as the use of computers has spread throughout society, there are an increasing number of careers involving computers. Computer-related professions: hardware-related electrical engineering, electronic engineering, computer engineering, telecommunications engineering, optical engineering, nanoengineering, software-related computer science, computer engineering, desktop publishing, human and edge computer interaction, information technology, information systems, computational science, software engineering, video game industry, web design. The need for computers to work well together and to be able to exchange information has spawned the need for many standards organizations, clubs, and societies of both a formal and informal nature. Organizations: standards groups: ANSI, EEC, IEEE, EETF, ISO, W3C. Professional societies: ACM, AIS, EET, IFIT, BCS. Free/open source software groups: Free Software Foundation, Mozilla Foundation, Apache Software Foundation. See also computability theory, computer security, glossary of computer hardware terms, history of computer science, list of computer term etymologies, list of computer system manufacturers, list of fictional computers, list of films about computers, list of pioneers in computer science, Pulse Computation Top 500, list of most powerful computers, and conventional computing.